What's good with the YouTube? You already know Big Flocka with a convict's perspective, and I'm gonna smash, dance, and slide on through that little bit of energy. What's cracking, people? Please hit the like, subscribe, comment, do all those things to help support this channel. Hit that bell notification for future fire content. So today, I'm gonna show you guys a little bit how communications can work and how you communicate from the streets to prison, different ways. And I'm gonna tell a story. Okay, so I was in CORCORAN SHU. I was there for probably about, I think, 2 or 3 years, right? Serving out a sentence. And while there, I was in the same pod with Silver Gomez from Farmersville, Mondo Quinn from Delano, AC was there, Angel Chavez from Tula. So it was there's all the main carnales that were basically from down that way, from Tulare County, that surrounding area. At the time, Silver was the regiment commander. This is before him and Sombra started bumping heads. So I held a position over there in the Blackwood course. I was the maestro for every northerner or norteño that came in. So I had each different individual on a different type of topic or different phase. And therefore, there's also a lot of responsibility that came with that, whether it be having to run a little cross checks on things, whether it had to be administrating discipline and whatnot. Those are things that I took care of. But I also had other DNRs based upon it being known through Silver because of the previous RC about me holding positions out there on the streets. Therefore, they knew I was in contact with certain individuals when I got out. Therefore, a lot of NF business was at that time privy to just me. As far as even amongst other C's didn't know what was going on. So there came an individual that came up into the block, and I had already heard that there was something going on stemming from the streets. His name was Rojo from Hollister. Now, I never personally ever had any issues with Rojo. I kind of liked the dude. He was all right. He was with me in 2002. Him and his brother-in-law, Boy, they were with me right there in San Quentin back in 2002 in the oil. And but I started to hear a lot of things about him through, a couple of the Compa brothers out there in the streets, homeboy out there in Morgan Hill, and about his actions when he was in the county jail that he was letting homeboys use, and they were fucking DPing stuff. They were putting hands on people, and that he was basically running a renegade program in San Benito County Jail, right? So I heard all that. So he gets there, and I'm like, I write a report. I tell Silver, I go, I think this dude's all bad, bro. I go, I'm almost positive that out there in the streets that they deemed him. I said, I can find out when I get out. And of course, Silver wants me to do that. So they maintained Rojo like on a partial clearance status, which meant that he wasn't really privileged to some stuff, just enough that to keep him comfortable. And so me and Silver had established a code. You know what I'm saying? And some of the words were like, I remember HOODRAT, right? That meant the person was no good. You know what I'm saying? There was different codes. Like you establish a code just you and that person know. And for the people that you're looking into. And then you basically write a letter and you fit that in. You know what I'm saying? It's like I could sit there and say, okay, fucking, I ran John Doe, aka JD from Pittsburgh. You know what I'm saying? That motherfucker likes hood rats. It means I just said that he's no good. Or I could say I ran into JD, right? John Doe from fucking Oakland. You know what I'm saying? And he's plugged in the music gang. That means the dude's all good. Whatever code you come up with, it could be something out of nowhere. But only you and that person know. So me and Silver had the communications codes, and at that time I had Xeroxed a couple of complaints that were going out to the streets against NF members. So I had to submit those to they were going to go from me to the SRC. From the SRC, can you get that to the GOP? So basically got to go through channels to get to this channel and to this channel. And I told them I don't know how that's going to work because basically brass at that time I just pled guilty, but I said I'll submit it to the SRC, which is at that time was the street regiment commander, and I'll let them forward it where it needs to go. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times they don't want to be bothered with that shit out there in the streets, but sometimes people are trying to cover their ass. So so I get out there to the streets. I meet up with a dude that's the San Jose regiment commander at that time, and I said I make my request as far as what's up with dude standing so I can submit it in. Now it just so happens to be that the dude that was running San Jose was from the same city as this dude Rojo from Hollister. So I basically got the whole rundown. I said, is there any way to salvage this dude's career? He said, nope, I'm not salvaging it. I go, are you 100% sure? He goes, I'm not salvaging it. He's no good. That's all I needed to hear. I submitted that to fucking Silver, right? In a coded letter. And then what they elected to do was, instead of fucking just having him fucking get booked, he was on single cell status, and there was another NF member that was an NF dropout that was there. I forgot what his name, Casito or something, from Tracy. So instead of just fucking wasting, having fucking trying to hit these individuals, they ordered Rojo to fucking spear the dude. You know what I'm saying? On the tier. And then maybe he was going to get backs. And so what was going to happen is basically they were going to hit this dropout, NF dropout on the tier. And then from there, they're probably going to get a hold of me and then let the SRC know what does he want to do. This dude did a pegada, and then leave it in fucking higher authority hands. Now, Silver did have pool at the time, but the Granada that was out there that made this call had been on the streets for approximately 7 years and was fucking well established. Already had businesses and whatnot. So I don't think that was going to be overturned by anybody. So I guess fucking Rojo tried to stick him. He tried to spear him in there in the pod, you know, and that was the end of the issue. So see, that's how the communications used to be, and that's how we used to send word to different facilities. You know, you have like with Chuco, NF General Chuco, we had a ghostwriting, you know what I'm saying, that he wanted me to communicate with. So basically what you do is you'd write a normal letter. You'd get basically the females' names at the time. So I'd have a female's name out there that's legit, have her really write letters, you know what I'm saying, and communicate. And then therefore he would communicate with that person back and forth. And then every couple letters, what would happen would be, if there had to be a coded message, right, we would fucking, he'd write it up in there and I'd be able to check it out. You know what I'm saying? And that was just established context. So that was the two different ways in which we communicated. Now I was supposed to Xerox all the copies, which I did, of all those reports. There was a complaint being filed by Silver against Chewy from San Fran, who was another Cat 2 NF member. And I knew Chewy, I had no issues. Chewy was hella cool, but it wasn't my business, because if the SRC needs this report to be filed, and I'm the one that has access to communicate with these dudes, all I could do is be the gopher. So I went out there, I got the legal law, right? Filled it all in, right? In certain pages, right? Got a fucking legal address, right, with a legal stamp that's coming from a legal office, and sent it in. Because they can't really check your legal law mail. You know what I'm saying? So those were like the kind of communications that I used to have. There were so many other ones, man. A lot of times, like when we were dealing with brass, right, we would send someone up there, they would get a paper and pen. You know what I'm saying? Right? They'd bring a paper and pen to the visit, small, and they would write down the orders. They would go up there and they'd put the fucking paper to the fucking visiting thing, and the person would write it down. So they would try to keep it as simple as it could be. But there were certain codes also on the phone, therefore they knew what time it was. You know, the visiting opened up the doors a lot, man, because they wanted people to keep on visiting. And the directives would come out, and that's how they did the directives, because it was, you can't technically search just because someone's visiting. You know, and it's real easy to get a pen through there. You know what I'm saying? Pen and paper. And that's how the directives would come out. That's how different codes would be established. They would change that on an alternating basis. You know what I'm saying? That's how fucking the hit on Tibbs' wife came out, man. Yes, exactly how they sent word out to fucking have Tibbs' lady hit was basically through the fucking mailroom. Not through the mailroom, through the visiting room, man. It didn't go to SNIS and Wattsville like people think. It went to a whole different region, and then therefore conveyed back to different RC. And that's how matters get meted out, man. And you know, like I said, man, communications, man, it's always been a way in which directives could be established. That's why it's important that you don't, you know, when you're in the functions, you learn about security. You don't trust people with your codes. You have alternate codes as well. This is the best form of having communications. You know, like I said, I've done the legal law. I've done the fucking ghostwriting. I've done almost every type of codes. The one that's always got people caught up the most, though, is the riddle. These IGI gang investigators, they're sharp. They've been doing this shit a long time. You can't pull nothing by them. So if you think you can sit there and put a little code up in there and it's not going to fucking get to them, and they're not going to decipher it, you're very, very mistakenly putting yourself in a bad position. Look what happened to Silent. You know what I'm saying? About his, only at the time when they had her killed. She'll be pushing daisies. They picked up on that off top. You know what I'm saying? I sent a letter to a particular individual that was supposed to be en route to the Bay, but hadn't got validated yet. And I put in codes in there. They used that one time as a validation point against them, you know, and they knew exactly what I was talking about. They were able to break it down. When I'm going to be back in the Bay Area, man, let me know who I got to tap into. Let them know I'm coming. They already, that right there was basically me telling them, like, look, I'm going up to the Bay. I think I used the word Vicky. That girl Vicky got me, which meant I was validated, and let the fellas know, you know what I'm saying, that I'll be coming that way. Basically, it was a message being sent. This was before I was even validated. I thought I was slick. I thought I could get one by. It didn't really work too well, man. And that's how we used to communicate, man. You know, I mean, directors go out this route from murder to fucking clearing someone to put them on freeze, man. Communication is based upon how all these groups have to operate. Now it's a little bit different with these cell phones, man. But recently, I think they used the first account of seizing communications that were done through a encrypted site. I'm trying to think of the. I just did the case recently. I'm trying to think which one it was, but there was a recent case, so I just did a segment on it to where they got the encrypted messages and we're able to use them in court. So basically, there's no secure, safe route, man. And all that has to go basically through a whole different process of something. It has to go through, even if you have a VPN or a Tor browser, like Onion and all that, they can still get your information where it's coming from. So if you think that you're safe with a VPN, with a Tor and all that stuff, you're not, because it has to run through something and they can find out what that something is. Anyways, like I said, man, I was involved in a lot of different stuff throughout my life as far as, what I'm saying, when I used to be functioning on a high level. And the communications was something that was a always ongoing need. Whether it was me sending a report up to the Bay, to Santa Rita, Corcoran, from the pen to the streets, whatever, county jail to county jail, communication was always needed. Because that's how you have information. That's how everybody stays aware, stays abreast of what to do, who's coming, who's under investigation, And that's just how we used to operate, man. With that said, it's your boy Flacco, Convict's Perspective. Hope you guys have a positive one.